Sophia, the smart-ass psychic. You know, there's one thing. Oh, look at these. Look at these. Aren't these the coolest things? Woo! One thing that I learned was emphasizing my major definite purpose, and I really needed to sit down and write out what that was. And I haven't really written it out, but I have this thing about people getting stuck in the system, and the mission of Empower Network is to help people free themselves so they can live the lives that they want to live, so they can be themselves, to be their true self. And for every person that's a different thing, there's a slightly different angle. And mine is people who are stuck in the homeless situation. Because there's all kinds of reasons that you can be homeless. When I was homeless, there's several times when I've been homeless, and it's not because you're a drug addict or you're an alcoholic or anything like that. You know, some people are like that, but like me, I didn't have those problems. I had other problems that had to do with my upbringing. You know, the old tapes in my head that I've spoken about before. Those tapes, old tapes in your head, can really do a number on you and keep you down, keep you stuck. And I am now hooked up into a company, Empower Network, that's all about unhooking people from those old paradigms that they're still believing in, from those old tapes that their parents, their peers, their teachers, whoever was telling them that they grew up, and that they're still believing now. But homeless people, I, I have this thing. I want to set them free, and the thing is, when you go through the system, um, they help you get a job. They help you get food. They help you with clothing, so you can go to interviews. They even help you with a car. I was given a car because I qualified. I had an old truck, and it was wheels to go somewhere. It was so amazing not to have to take the bus after 3 years of taking the bus. You know, it was uh, so hard to get used to going places, be able to go places instead of plan it around the bus schedule and all that. That was really something. But there all these programs are available to you if you're in a situation where you can't put enough food on the table. You need child care so you can go get a job. You need money so you can pay your bills. All kinds of stuff, okay? And this is all good, but what's happened is the people have grown to count on that, and because their mindset hasn't changed, you know where I'm going with this? Because the mind hasn't changed, the mindset hasn't changed, then, like me, they keep coming back, and keep falling back into the same hole, okay? And again, you find yourself on food stamps. Again, you need rent subsidy. Again, you need help paying your bills. And, you know, asking your family over and over again gets kind of old, right? I mean, they're wondering how long this is going to happen, and probably you've been in a situation where you've asked for money, asked your parents for money, or your brother or sister or an uncle or grandma or whatever for money, and, or your local church or whatever, and they're tired of it because you keep seeing, it seems like you keep making the same mistake, and you know you keep making the same mistake, but you keep trying to get out of it, keep trying to get off that hamster wheel, keep trying to move past that and go on a different path, but you keep sliding down the hill, and there you are in that mud hole again. And it's not something you do on purpose, most of you. There are a few people that play the system, and they want other people to take care of them, and I've seen them too. They're scary. No, I'm not going to talk about that now, but see, I was down there and everyone else was learning, well, not everyone else, okay. A lot of people just wanted to stay there in the system and learn how to swim. Well, I wanted out of the toilet. I didn't want to stay there and learn how to swim. I wanted to be out of it. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my own place. I wanted to have a job. I wanted to be totally dependent on myself and not the government, not the system, not some special program for people who need help, whatever, or my sister or my mom or my dad or anything like that. I wanted to be independent on my own. Um, so now that I'm getting to a place where I can really take care of my own shit, okay, for the first time since I got a divorce, and that was 12 years ago, I'm really in a place now where I'm really taking care of myself. Um, I just have this passion to want to help people who are where I was at one time. I was homeless and it was not fun. Yes, there are shelters. Yes, there are programs. Yes, there's free food and food pantries and even cars and stuff for people who qualify. And, there's all kinds of programs out there. But, God, I wanted to be on my own, but it was so hard. And so much of it is because of the mindset. And I want to have some kind of program that helps people change the mindset that keeps getting them sliding down in the gutter. Now, you know somebody, I'm sure you know somebody, maybe it's you, that it seems like they keep trying and they get a job and then everything's set up and then everything blows up or crumbles or whatever. You know, they get in the wrong relationship and the abuse uh, breaks, it just messes them up, and so they can't keep the job, or they've been diagnosed with such and such, and they need to take their meds, but they don't they don't make enough money to buy the meds, and even the programs, the programs are starting to be undercut because of government. They don't have enough to spend on free programs anymore, so it's harder to qualify, and it's harder to get disability. I tried 4 times to get disability, and I had paperwork and everything, and they still turned me down. But I don't need it anymore, so I'm not there. But there are people that really do need it. But even that, they're still sliding down and having trouble hanging on to the job, having trouble uh, having trouble carrying on a normal life. And I remember being there thinking how wonderful it will be to have a job and pay my own bills and buy food, go to the grocery store and buy food, instead of to a food bank or a church or whatever. It really gets so tiring after a while. And the thing is with homeless people, they're homeless for all kinds of reasons. It's not just addiction, okay? There's a lot of people, yes, that are homeless because they can't hold a job, because they've been fired again and again because of their alcohol problems or their drug problems or whatever. But there's a lot of people out there, and I'm sure you know at least one person who's homeless because they lost their house to foreclosure, you know? There's so many people like that now. And also medical bills. If you know somebody with huge medical bills, um, and they're not able to pay them, and they lose their house, they lose their job or whatever, because because they because they require so much treatment, say like for cancer or myasthenia gravis or even diabetes or something like that. The the bills can just mess you up, and it takes away your ability to take care of yourself. So my my passion is to help people who don't have a place to call their own, and they want one so badly, but people keep looking at them like what's wrong with you, loser? Go out and get a job. Well, I'm here to tell you that getting a job isn't that easy. Getting a job when you have clothes, when you have a shower to use, when you have a home base, like even some friend's couch or their garage or whatever, even with that, it's still hard to find a job. And when you're wearing all your clothes because you don't have a place to stay, and your clothes stink because you don't have laundry facilities and you don't have uh, money to pay for laundry, it's really hard to get a job. And yes, you have to start somewhere, but people look at you funny when you can't give an address. And you use your friend's address, and when you're leaning on your friends, it's really hard on friendship. I don't care how wonderful they are. Even if it's their idea, still crashing at your friend's house or leaving your junk at your friend's house while you go and try to establish your life. That's hard, and it can ruin relationships. And I know that for a fact because that's what happened to me. I lost my best friend because of some poor decisions that I made, and she was helping me out, but even though it was her decision to help me out, it still really strained the relationship, and even now, we don't talk much anymore, which is really sad. But I'm telling you what, I want to do something to help the homeless people, and the strangest thing is you look at someone, you don't know they're homeless, and you can't tell because they're not wearing ragged clothes, they're not missing teeth, they're not, holding out their hand begging for money. There's a lot of homeless people that are not. In fact, I remember this is before all this happened. I was still married, and this lady was standing in front of me at the grocery store and buying her groceries, and she had three little kids in the basket. I mean, they were all under 4 years old, and she had this long fur coat on and rings on her fingers and stuff, and she was using food stamps. And me, not knowing any better, I was like, excuse me, why is she on food stamps? Don't they know over at the agency that this woman has a fur coat and she's got rain? Well, what if she just lost her house? What if she got a divorce and her husband took her to the cleaners? Because, a lot of women, they don't jump on it and the guy will file first. Now, fortunately, that didn't happen to me because I had some advice from people who knew what to do. But uh, I've known people who they get a divorce and they have all this money, but then they lose it all because of the settlement, because of uh, they don't get alimony because the guy isn't paying alimony. You have to track these people down and get the guy to pay alimony to get the guy to pay child support. And a lot of women have trouble getting that. And they might go from this wonderful lifestyle, like this woman, she was a computer programmer, and she made $85,000 a year, and she had really nice clothes and nice car and stuff. But she went from that to having nothing. And even though she still had a really good job, paying $80,000 a year, a big, huge chunk of it went to her ex because of what she signed on the papers. And now she's kicking herself, of course. But she was so scared of that man that she signed whatever he gave her. And because of that, because she didn't read the papers, um, she's been paying for it ever since. So, what I'm saying is, don't judge people, okay? You have no business judging people. You don't know their story. People don't go by appearances. The whole thing with the media is dependent on the media, TVs and movies. They are dependent on stereotype as a shortcut to establish character, what the kind of person is. But people who are homeless often, more often than not, I'm telling you right now, more often than not, don't look homeless. And there's so many of them now. And the stigma of using food stamps, or SNAP, as they call it now, isn't so strong anymore. And there are countless numbers of people who are using subsidies for rent and medical issues and different things. So, um, if you're out there and you're homeless, send me a note. Would you? Please send me a note. You're probably watching this in the library or at a friend's house. I want to help you, okay? I want to help you, and I've been there. It sucks. I've been there. And it's so hard to hang on your hope. But I tell you what, you hang on your hope. Hang on to your hope no matter what. And you hang around with people who support you, okay? Who are your fans. Don't listen to anybody. I don't care who it is, even if it's your mom or your best friend who implies or even comes out and tells you that you're a loser, okay? Because you want out of this hole that you're in. And maybe you put yourself in there, I don't know, because that's what happened to me half the time, okay? Some of the times it was just situation I was in, but there were a few times where I made decisions that weren't in my best interest, and I ended up homeless. But I'm telling you what, there is a way out of that homelessness, and there is a way to get out and stay out, okay? And if you want to know more, please look at the link down below. Click the link down below and go to my site and talk to me, okay? All right, see you later. Best wishes. If there's an end to this agony that you're in right now. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, okay?